Welcome to The Scoop with Dukes. I'm your host, Phillip Dukes, a.k.a. Dukes the Scoop. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Dukes the Scoop. And make sure, above all, you hit the like and subscribe button. All right, so we got a quick video today. We are going to talk about how the Colorado Buffaloes are faring at the East-West Shrine Bowl. That's right, you got Shedeur Sanders, who won't be practicing or playing, but he's there. But he's also having a great East-West Shrine Bowl. I'll explain that. You got Silmon, Craig, you got Shilo Sanders, and you have the trio of receivers, Will Sheppard, Lajohntay Wester, and Jimmy Horn. So a lot to talk about, but we'll get straight to it. Let's talk about Shedeur. All right, so he's not practicing, not playing, and you would think, how can he improve his draft status without playing? Well, there's a report by Teron Davenport. Shout out to him, TURONDAVENPORT. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. He has a report that says he talked to multiple teams at the East-West Shrine Bowl, and they all commented on how easy Shedeur was to work with, how he's a pleasure to work with, was willing to do whatever they asked, answered all questions, didn't hide anything, and was someone who's basically making a move without playing. I think a lot of teams had this idea, or maybe not teams. Let's say there's this idea about Shedeur in some circles that says what he's not going to be. And all he did was go to the East-West Shrine Bowl and say and prove what he is. There's tons of film on him. From the quarterback position, you can see that he can make all the throws. You've seen him against good competition. You've seen him elevate a team. Even when he got to Jackson State, you saw what his leadership was able to do as he's been a winner. The one losing season he had was the first season at Colorado, and you would think, what if he started his career at Colorado? If he played 4 years at Colorado, how much different does his college career look? But I digress. For him to go out and make an impression on teams, especially, and let me say this, Davenport, who made this report, covers the Tennessee Titans, who have the #1 pick for ESPN and the ESPN NFL Network. So shout out to Davenport. Great brother, does great work. But to see that report only strengthens Shedeur's case to be the #1 overall pick. How does that affect Coach Prime? I don't know. We'll talk about that at a later time. But I do know that it was going to be hard for Shedeur to get out of those top 3 picks, especially with the performance that he's put on without even touching the field. And I know a lot of times people think, well, how can you improve? But it's your swagger. It's how you walk around. It's how you command attention. Me and Uncle Neil, we just talked about this on, by the time this comes out, the morning run. Uncle Neely, who worked at multiple postseason bowl games, all-star games, he knows. And he literally said, like, dog, it's your swagger. It's how you walk around. It's how people respond to you. And I think that's something that Shedeur has in spades. Is for him to be able to handle his business on such a large stage with basically the whole NFL, their front offices. When you think about the circuit is Dallas for the East-West Shrine Bowl to Mobile for the Senior Bowl. So on the most important days of the East-West Shrine Bowl, Shedeur did a great job, and I think that Colorado fans should be happy, especially if they want Shedeur to capitalize on his potential and go as high as possible. He did nothing to hurt his stock, even without throwing. So I know there's people saying, oh, well, he didn't throw, and how did he help his stock? He did a ton, and you're getting it from not me, you're getting it from one of the best sources when it comes to pre-draft information in Teron Davenport. So shout out to Mr. Davenport for that report. Okay, let's stay in the family. Let's go to Shilo Sanders. So Shilo Sanders, there are reports out that Shilo Sanders has met with multiple NFL teams. And one of the most impressive things that I saw from Shilo in this, as I've watched tons and tons of footage, shout out to DNVR. They've got tons of footage. If you want to go see some footage, please go check out DNVR. But DNVR has footage up of Shilo, and watching the way that Shilo gets in and out of his breaks is something that in the drills, and I know the scouts have to be salivating about. There was always a question if Shilo had the hip flip. If he had the foot speed in order to be successful as an NFL safety, at his size, he could even be a slot guy. He's someone that you can. He's the type of player that you want to be able to move around a defense, a la Brian Branch. And with his fluidity and his mobility, I think he's proved some people wrong, and I think that he's helped himself a tremendous amount by the shortness of his steps, his suddenness, and then when you see him in live action, it looks like Shilo is literally gearing up for a big hit every time. And I think that with the way that Shilo plays, being able to play at a faster speed is going to help him. If you notice, sometimes you will see Shilo overrun some stuff. Like he was getting there quicker than the ball carrier sometimes. And I think that with in a space like the NFL where everybody is fast, everybody is moving at that speed, it's only going to help Shilo because the way that he plays, that physical brand of football that he does play, is going to translate well when there's times that he needs to be early. So I think his suddenness is something that NFL scouts have seen on display over the past couple of days. Has some good plays, and I think Shiloh has really helped himself as well. But I think more so than anything, he's really helped himself with individual drills, showing off the foot speed, showcasing his hip flip, and it's something that people thought, well, maybe Shiloh's stiff, or maybe he's always only going for the tackle because he doesn't have any fluidity. But he's proven that wrong, and I think that he's also helped himself tremendously in the East-West Shrine Bowl, and I look forward to see what he does in the game. All right, let's go with Cameron Silmon Craig. We'll stay on defense. Silmon Craig is someone who's shown up as far as during live sessions, the pass breakups. So you've seen him being on multiple passes. You've seen his coverage skills. We know that he's a very willing tackler, more of a fundamental tackler than Shilo. Shilo is more of an enforcer, and Silman Craig is the guy that you want. If you need a tackle, if you need somebody to wrap up, if you need somebody to break down, if you need somebody to set the edge from a perimeter standpoint, that's who you want. You want Silman Craig, and he can play a multitude of positions. I think he's done nothing but help himself. When you think about a potential special teams player, someone who's going to make sure tackles and take great angles to the ball, that's something that I think Silman Craig has in spades, and that he'll continue to do in that when he showcased during his time in Dallas this week. So I think over the weekend, Silman Craig, he's really helped himself as well. I think, and it sounds repetitive, but from what I'm hearing, the Colorado guys, they've helped themselves. We'll get to the receivers in a minute, but Silman Craig is someone I know a lot of people, a fan favorite. A lot of people are rooting for him, and for those that are rooting for Cam Silman Craig, I think that he's someone that he's in the conversation to have his name called, and that as long as he has a good pro day and can and backs up some of his on-field production by testing well, yeah, he's somebody who is going to be very happy during that weekend for the NFL draft. All right, so if I had any inside information as far as the draft process, you guys know that I had a ton of inside information from the trainer who's actually training the NFL prospects pre-draft. So if you go back and you look at my page, you can also see this on Uncle Neely's page on the Pregame Network. I had a very in-depth interview with Coach Steph Brown of TSP, who is training at XPE's facility, and who has basically been training Will Sheppard, Lajohntay Wester, and Jimmy Horn for the NFL draft process. And this is their first test of the process. Now I'm going back and I'm looking, and I'm seeing all of these comparisons, and I'd be damned if they aren't comparing Lajohntay Wester to Antonio Brown, and if they aren't comparing to Jimmy Horn to Tank Dell. And Steph Brown said it first. So now you're actually seeing reputable media outlets making that comparison. We'll start with Will Sheppard. Will Sheppard, if you go and you look at the clips, DNVR had a great clip. And if you look at the clips on the internet, you're seeing Will Sheppard has been very a tough cover. And I think that's something that Colorado fans knew, but I think it's really important that he introduced himself to the world as a tough cover. So, and it's not just been the ball, his catch radius. We know about the catch radius and the consistency catching the ball, but two drills that stood out to me was his one-on-ones when he was stacking coverage and making his break and making the decision to go dig or go out. And he did really well stacking receivers, which is something I hadn't really seen him do before. Uh, the way that he's been stacking receivers is something that's going to really help him in the draft process. And I think the next thing that he's done really well is, man, adjusting to the ball. And the drill that he did that in that helped him the most was the gauntlet, catching multiple passes at a time. Just it's where basically they just you got guys throwing you multiple balls as you run through a selected area. And him being able to showcase a catch radius as some of the balls were behind him during the gauntlet, he's just reaching out like Plastic Man and showing you that he has a catch radius a la a Drake London. I'll tell you somebody who a good comparison for him that you saw in the AFC Championship was Mac Hollins. Mac Hollins has been in the league forever, 6'3", 220 pounds. Somebody who has that catch radius that going up against one of the top corners in the NFL and Trent McDuffie, he just big bodied him. That's something that Will Sheppard will be able to continue to do on the next level. And he is showcasing that in Dallas. So that's another guy who's had a very successful couple of days in practice at East West Shrine Bowl. And as most people know, and for those who don't know, the practice is more important than the game at the East West Shrine Bowl. So for him to have the type of performance that he's had so far, I think it only helps him as he tries to move up draft boards. Next, we got to go Jimmy Horn. The Tank Dell comparisons are out there now. You saw NFL Rookie Watch tweeted about him. You saw Teron Davenport tweet about him. DNVR, like people are seeing it. And seeing him against more consistent, good competition is only helping him. He's losing people. And I was just talking about Will Sheppard stacking people, and people didn't realize if he could. It's his specialty. Jimmy Horn is the guy that you can't really put a hand on in the phone booth. He does have elite speed. He's going to continue to prove that speed when he gets to the combine. I think, and for those that don't know, the way that people get invited to the combine is that a certain amount of teams have to ask for you. They have to be intrigued by what you're going to run. So I think his speed is something that pops on film and people want to see it up close. So that's why he got the invite. But Jimmy Horn is helping himself as well. Definitely caught the ball consistently, which is something I think that only helps him, especially when you consider that he's been someone in the slot that can really take the top off of defense or run mesh routes, mesh concepts, and terrorize you on third down and short. So another wide receiver, another Colorado player having a great East-West Shrine Bowl. And last but not least, let's get to who I think probably has the most draft potential outside of Shedeur Sanders on the team. That's Lajohntay Wester. Steph Brown, I go back to the interview. He said Antonio Brown. A lot of people, when we put the interview out, were saying, all right, that's very lofty. Or, are you sure about that? And now you're seeing the top of the top NFL guys throw that name around. It's about somebody who has suddenness, change of direction, fluid, in and out of his breaks. He's not leaning. He's not giving you any tails. He's not giving you any keys. You have to wait to see what he's going to do in order to know what he's going to do. He can play inside or outside. I mean, nightmare in the slot on the outside, he's going to route you up. Can run the entire route tree and make it all look the same. He's selling the GOAT every time. For those who may not be, when I say sell to go, when you run routes in football, you want everything when you start out to look like another route. And mainly you want to sell to go. When you fire off the ball, you want somebody to think that you're going to run 40, 50 yards down, 50 yards down the field. He's done such a great job of selling the go, releasing well, getting off of press coverage, being very, very slippery, not even allowing some of the best corners to get their hands on him. His release game is going crazy. So I think Lajohntay Wester has done an amazing job so far at the East-West Shrine Bowl, and he's really helping himself draft stock-wise and showing that he can play multiple positions. He can play the X, the Y, the Z. It don't matter. Put him wherever. He's going to succeed, and he's running concepts out of all of those positions. So I think that Lajohntay Wester, if I were to a betting man, I would think that he had the highest draft ceiling out of anybody who's at the East-West Shrine Bowl from Colorado, and then Colorado's team as a whole. I think he's someone that really helped himself this weekend, and he'll continue to. I think Pro Day is going to be big for him. If he can get in that 4.4 range, I mean, I don't know how high he can go. if he runs in the 4.4s, we're talking about somebody who's going to shock a lot of people on draft day. So that's my time for today. Just want to give you guys a quick update. If there's anybody else as far as pre-draft that you want to check on, I can call my guys to see what's going on. Drop something in the comments. Let me know who you want to hear about, or let me know what you want to talk about. Last week I had a lot of Auburn content because I wanted to make sure that I put some stuff out for them as well. But yeah, man, we're going to consistently put out right now. It looks like I'll be doing a lot of work with Big Dog Chico and Uncle Neely. I also continue to put out these Colorado videos. I also have a sports show dropping myself, and I'll be dropping a lot of Auburn content. So if you're a Colorado fan or you're an Auburn fan, this is the place for you. All right, man. Peace out. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Duke Steve Scoop. I am out.